Hey there, welcome back to the Rely on Faith YouTube channel. Today is Sunday, October 12th, 2025. Today is it's a it's an important day for me personally, and my family. Um, Today marks 10 years since my father passed away, and I just wanted to take this opportunity to talk about why bad things happen to us. I feel like that's a constant debate, especially with what's been going on in the world recently. People are just talking about, well, if God is good, then why would he have let whatever happen, And you know, I there's it gets to a point where some things we just aren't meant to understand as humans. God has, if nothing else, he has such a higher point of view than we do in our own lives. And In Genesis chapter 50, verse 20, it says, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good, to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives. So then, don't be afraid. I will provide for you and your children." And he reassured them and spoke kindly to them. And so, what I take from that is, I guess, kind of just what it says, but in the moment of something happening to you or a loved one, you can just feel so lost and at a loss for words of what it means and why it happened. Whenever these things happen, you tend to look on that person with rose-colored glasses, and you're just like, oh, why did it happen to someone so good, such a good person? And even though we're all sinners, it's only by the grace of God that we get to that we're saved, and by Jesus' sacrifice that we get to go to heaven. But bad things do happen to good people, and I sincerely believe that even though we think someone didn't deserve something to happen to them, that can, if the, I guess, spectators, for lack of a better word, the people around them, if they have the right the right perspective, then God can use that hurt to bring about so much good in the world that otherwise wouldn't have happened. For example, let's say some kid just got his driver's license. Just within a year of him getting his driver's license, he gets killed by a drunk driver. And his mother, or parents in general, are then, from there on, are on a crusade to bring awareness to drunk driving and how to prevent drunk driving incidents, accidents, stuff like that. That's a purpose they wouldn't have had otherwise. And and when you're the one it's happening to, it can be really easy to get bitter about it and to get defensive and think, well, why did my person have to die? And these are it gets to a point where you just have to come to peace with it and just think, okay, I love this person. I love this person so much, and they're gone. Or whatever the situation is. Maybe they were just hurt deeply, and their life has changed from here on out. And it comes to a point where you just have to decide, am I going to be bitter about this for the rest of my life? Or am I going to allow God to use this deep pain to bring about good in the world? Let Him use me so that others can see the grace of God through me. Or, maybe there's no telling how many lives can be changed as a result of you just deciding to let God come into your life and use you in your deepest, darkest moments of hurt. There's another passage I want to share with you. This is my favorite verse. I apologize for the AC if you can hear it. I'm using a microphone. Hopefully it blocks some of it out. But anyway, back to it. This is my favorite Bible verse, but it also kind of irks me. It's Jeremiah 29. Chapter 29, verse 11. Most people cut it off at 11, but I think there's some very valuable information in verses 12, 13, and 14. And there's important context in there that people often conveniently leave off. But Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 11 is, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you a hope and a future." So that's verse 11. And, just that alone is just like, oh, God's got me. And He does, but there's some important context here in the next verse. Picking up at verse 12. "Then you will call on me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you. You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart. And I will be found by you, declares the Lord. And I will bring you back from captivity. I will gather you from all the nations and places where I have banished you, declares the Lord. And I will bring you back to the place from which I carried you into exile." So that's the end of chapter, verse 14. But so I think maybe this is a bit too what's the word? Pessimistic minded of me. But I think it's pretty convenient. People often leave off verses 12 to 14 because that's where God is highlighting the personal responsibility on our end. God's got us, but we have to take action. We have to put in the work that He wants us to do. My Bible here is a little study Bible, and I'm going to read the bottom here. About 29:11. It says, "What comfort this verse offers. In our moments of despair, we must remember that God has a plan for His people, and we can be sure that it is filled with blessing. We can be sure that our spiritual growth is an important part of God's will for us. Realizing this gives us hope for the future." So take note of how it says spiritual growth. That doesn't happen just by itself. We have to take action in order for that to happen. So, God is saying, I have a plan for you, but you have to seek me with all your heart. and then I will deliver you from your exile. And I think where it says being in exile is really, it can be a metaphor for anything, but it can be a metaphor for just deep hurt. And you can either just sit there in the hurt and be bitter and scornful and just be consumed by it, or you can seek God with all your heart and allow Him to change your life for the better. Allow Him to take action through you, and He will deliver you from your darkness, from your exile. Anyway, that's what I wanted to share with you today. If you're in a place of hurting, I know a lot of us are. You don't have to have had someone die or seriously hurt to be hurting. The world's in a rough place. You could be in between jobs. You could be at the end of the month or in the middle of the month and at the end of the money, just waiting for that next paycheck to hit to try to pay your bills. It doesn't have to be, these things aren't necessarily comparable to each other. It's not about, oh, my pain is bigger than yours. It's really just about taking that moment and reaching out to God and saying, look, I can't do this by myself. And just really opening up to Him and saying, look, I can't do this by myself. Show me what you want me to do. Show me what plans you have for me and give me the strength to do them. And if you're in any position like anything close to that today, I encourage you to just take a moment and say that prayer. Lord, please just show me the way and give me the strength to take that next step. That's what He wants for you, and that's what you should want for yourself. Anyway, just wanted to share that with you today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and God bless. I'll see you next time.